But the issue of the matter of extradition, can the extradition process work? Can Nigeria actually satisfy that process? Another question is the fact that Nigeria does not have extradition treaty with Finland.
That is the main problem. That is not, it's not whether it can be extradited or not. The problem basically is that we don't have a treaty.
The treaty.
So they are not under any obligation, legal obligation to extradite it, because we don't have a treaty. That is the main problem.
One day, chọta data ebe ọbụla ị ga-enweta data ka ị settle order and watch this video. Here now the latest updates, the latest interview Nigerian news media drop concerning Mazi Simon Ekpa's extradition into Nigeria for trial. According to this interview, actually ka ị settle order and watch this interview. If you see this interview, you get to understand that now something is underground. You get to understand that if watch the Mazi Simon Ekpa to Nigeria for trial got hard. Even the people so now this interaction know and they are aware of this thing. So like you settle down and watch this video from beginning to the end. A lot of things happen in this video, a lot of interviews. You watch analyze everything had discussed here. And drop one opinion in the comment section. A back one but to start the video can do some quite for the updates. Just watch the video, guys. I'll be right back.
Let's move straight to our next conversation. The extradition of Simon Ekpa is still very much in progress. The federal government has submitted most of the requirements to fast-track the process. The Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa expressed hope that the government of Finland will do the right thing to expedite the process. PKO, in your opinion, is the federal government doing all it can to make sure that Simon Ekpa faces justice?
No, they are. The federal government is doing its best, but whether it will be extradited to Nigeria is what we do not know. You know, extradition trials are by nature very tricky. They can last for years. At the end of the day, you may not even achieve your aim. And that's why, especially where the accused person has the citizenship of Finland. They may want to try him using the laws of their own country rather than sending him here. Some of the negative stories about our country, they in fact work against his extradition, because I constantly accusing the judiciary of not being up to it, of being corrupt. You are saying that the justice system in our country does not always favor people who are up against the government, or does not always favor activists and all that. So he is accused of propagation of terrorism-related rhetorics and all that, so which is a crime in their own country, in Finland. So it all depends on how Nigeria pushes aggressively the case for his trial. Otherwise, remember the case of Ibori now. Ibori was put, the EFCC had a case against Ibori. Ibori was deemed not to have committed an offense. And the same document, the same facts that the justice system here didn't use to convict him were used to convict him in the UK. They not only jailed him, they jailed his wife, they jailed their friend, they jailed lawyer.
His lawyer too.
So what are we talking about? It's I know that Ekpa's lawyers are going to argue that he will not get justice in Nigeria. And some of the things that Nigerians write about our judicial system may actually work against us.
But this is a matter of terrorism. Nigeria is signatory to Rome Statute.
Yes,
Finland is.
Yes,
why should he not be?
I'm awful. Why I'm awful is this. I agree with him absolutely that because of the way our judiciary is perceived, it may be very, very difficult. Because you know, European governments do not joke with human rights. If they believe that the person being accused will not get justice or fair justice, they will believe that it is not fair to extradite the guy to your country. But what I'm hopeful is that already he has been detained in Finland and been tried there. So that shows that they do not agree with the things he was doing.
Okay.
And there are enough evidence to show that he engaged in act of terrorism. I know all over the world, governments will not joke with terrorism.
Sure.
That is the only thing that can work for us. So that's why I'm hopeful, because people like EKPA should be made to account for all the nonsense I did. You cannot stay in another country and wage war against your country and incite people against your country, and you think that
he's making money off
all this nonsense.
Exactly.
And you think he can get away with it. He must be brought to account. He must pay for all the nonsense he did. So I'm hopeful that he will be. But even if he's not, he will,
justice will be served.
Yeah, justice will be served. People in Finland, because already he's in prison and he has been denied bail. So justice will be served.
And they've established that they were actually using the group to make money. Some guys who are working with him, mobilizing money, and the guys of
from everybody.
Yes, in the guise of freedom fighting, they've been arrested. So it's not the only person that has been arrested. So I think that they have a good hang on the matter, and somehow justice will be served and seen to have been served. But whether they will extradite him to Nigeria, only a proper extradition trial will determine that.
But another thing, before we go to our Zoom guest, will the arrest and possible extradition of Simon Ekpa bring peace to the Southeast?
No, not necessarily. Because you know that Simon Ekpa himself is a faction. They call people in IPOB.
Yes.
Do not really agree with him.
Yes.
He's just somebody that, because of incarceration of Kanu, he played on that. He played on that vacuum. He occupied it and was using it for himself. Even when when he will give order that people should not come out on a particular day, IPOB will say no, they are not part of that.
Yes.
And he kept getting away with it. So that will not solve all the problems, because the issue.
He doesn't even believe in Nnamdi Kanu anymore.
Yes, anymore. Yes.
Because there was a time I did issues with Jide.
Yes.
I was saying that, look, the people still respect Nnamdi Kanu more than him. He launched into tirade, was attacking me, because I said in the Southeast, the people still see Nnamdi Kanu more as a hero than himself. So he started attacking me. So to him now, Nnamdi Kanu does not amount to anything. He's just doing what he's doing, believing that, okay, he has replaced
Nnamdi Kanu in the struggle.
But
so what will now bring peace to the Southeast? The release of Nnamdi Kanu?
nobody can guarantee that the release will put an end to this agitation. I think that over time, cultists never do well. So all kinds of people have hijacked the struggle. And that's why Nnamdi Kanu will sign that there is no seat at home anymore.
Yes.
He used his own hand, he wrote it. When Senator Ifeanyi Ubah and Eze Chukwuemeka of Enugu Aguleri went to see him in detention, he said, okay, from now, in the past, they said, okay, only when it's brought to court.
Okay.
Yes, we still sit at home. Later, they went to him and said, this thing is destroying the economy of the Southeast. I think Senator Abaribe also joined them.
Okay.
And he agreed. In his own hand, he said, no more sit at home at any time. Yet, Simon Ekpa, who did not institute it in the first place, so this thing was instituted by IPOB. Simon Ekpa continued to do sit at home. So it's like, as far as he's concerned, it has nothing to do with IPOB. And that was why IPOB disowned him.
Yeah, he's not powerful.
They said, no, we do not approve of his actions.
Exactly.
So we will see what happens. I know that Kanu's release will definitely reduce.
Yeah, go a long way in doing that.
To put an end to it, I don't know.
Okay. All right. Still talking about it, I think we're having issues with our Zoom guest. But the issue of the matter of extradition, can the extradition process work? Can Nigeria actually satisfy that process? Another question is the fact that Nigeria does not have extradition treaty with Finland.
That is the main problem. That is not. It's not whether it can be extradited or not. The problem basically is that we don't have a treaty.
The treaty.
So they are not under any obligation, legal obligation to extradite him because we don't have a treaty. That is the main problem. Not that, because we have enough evidence.
But we have bilateral relationship with them.
Yeah, but yeah.
Is that not a
bilateral relationship is different. Having extradition agreement is different.
Countries go into
different.
Such deals to exchange prisoners,
yes,
to exchange detainees and all that. If, for example, between us, the UK and UAE, for example, they have it, and that was why it was easy to send.
Yeah.
It was easy to send
Ibori
to that place. So Nigeria, I remember that we actually signed during the Buhari regime. We got into that deal with the UAE, and you've seen that the UAE even helped us to arrest some sponsors
of Boko Haram. Yes, exactly.
So now, it's really of value when countries get into this kind of agreement. You say, okay, we exchange prisoners, we share information about insecurity and all that. We will exchange detainees, as the case may be. It's really of value. If that had been the case, someone will know that he will, by now maybe it will even be Nigeria.
Well, of course, by now, yeah.
I was thinking maybe there would be some, since there is a matter of terrorism here.
No, what I'm saying, there's a difference between almost all countries have relationship with each other.
Exactly.
It's different from when you have a bilateral agreement, because that bilateral made it binding on you to do that. Now, because you don't have that bilateral agreement, it is now left for the government of Finland to use that discretion to agree whether they should send the person to you or not.